Morning, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? Are we actually screwed up? And now are we sleep deprived? Because sure as hell feel that way to me sometimes. This is your zombie I hear. The Weaver John C. of Roseman, California. Yeah. Stayed away from the politics yesterday. I should have been watching it. Apparently, that special election to get rid of George Santos's seat, transfer of power began, and it continues on. Santos was replaced by Tom Suozzi of New York at 53.9 versus a 46.1. And Mr. Suozzi has got the seat. So the Republicans are crashing and burning. This is what happens when you turn into a Trumplicant. Oh, yeah. This morning, shout out to a Mr. Artist in Recovery, Mr. Daryl P. Morning, my friend. I saw it this morning. And now, yeah, you were hitting all the good ones there, too. On my screen right now, and the other one is the MSNBC Morning Joe, which are talking about how screwed up the damn Trumplicans are. We'll turn that down here. There's no right answer in trying to feel how you felt, pal. There isn't. And trying to figure it out. There's other people I came across in my lifetime that didn't understand duty, sacrifice, patriotism, feeling part of the country. It was something of a calling for them, and they went and they did their jobs. And at times there were sacrifices for that. And we think it's American, and I kept telling people history, history, history. Some other countries, some other times didn't have the opportunity or the chance. They drafted people left and right. As I've been trying to remember the Western civilization, particularly the Roman Empire, when this empire grew like a damn cancer, it would go to different regions left and right. It'd win them with conflict after bloody conflict after bloody conflict, and you conscript people into your military. You train them up. They're not pure Romans because they're only captured territory. They're not the Romans from the originating country, which was Italy. But if you were in the army, you are considered partial Roman, but you're not full Roman. But you're still part of the mechanism. Sometimes I feel like we're getting that way these days. But they did it because the empire was a conquering cancer of sorts, and they needed everybody that they can put in there. Different way of looking at things. But then you jump back in different centuries where you had other fiefdoms and kingdoms in different countries that if you were loyal to the crown, if you were loyal to the ruler, then you'd sacrifice for that ruler in that country for whatever reason is. Duty, honor, sacrifice. Sometimes people consider it fanatical. Maybe. Maybe we are a bunch of fanatics at this point, waving a red, white, and blue and trying to be patriotic, ultra patriotic, super ultra patriotic, Trumpophonic. I don't know how the hell to put this one into words. We had to keep raising the red, white, and blue and become really fanatical. And here's the thing. As I said before, history always shows us what's going on. Even in World War II, we had Italy falling head over heels. There were a lot of people falling head over heels in those days, trying to be patriotic to Mussolini. Everybody had to be hip and square with this guy. Fanatic. We still have it for today, but we're so in tune with your leader, you do anything and everything because I keep seeing that happening in our country right now, my friend. There are points I'm trying to get around and trying to get to at this point, in our conversation here. What we do when we feel connected to our country, to our ideas, our idealisms, when you feel like we're doing what our ancestors would want us to do to keep and save a union together. And we're doing it for our own altruistic reasons, shall I say. Sometimes patriotism is hard to put it into words, more like a feeling that you are connected one way or another, either by blood or by something else. Sometimes I would have to step back and understand why. I have to put on the critical thinking cap of sorts and analyze why. Why we do the things we do. I know the fanatics are like, this is the best country in the world and we must protect it, preserve it, and we must strengthen it. Okay, fine, I can understand that. And then we must expand. That usually gets me right there. We must expand. Rephrase it any which way you can, but it's that terminology that gets my ass. That gets my attention right there, pal. I was talking about that interview that the independents have been doing it on YouTube. And they were talking to this one jerk who wanted to recolonize Africa. And I was trying to make an explanation that invading someone else's sovereignty like that just because you think you can, well, that's what tyrants and dictators do. Well, we're seeing that on a constant basis. We're seeing the constant civil wars, but we're also seeing the constant wars across continents that way. Throughout our lifetime, but not to mention throughout history. It's not just being loyal to dirt in your hands. It's ideology, what meaning, form, function, whatever we put into that we hold dear. That's what drives us. We have been taught a hell of a lot for a hell of a long while that America is supposed to be the greatest country on earth. I think they called it the GOAT, GOAT. It's something that even some I have a hard time trying to put into words. If I'm willing to die for for freedom, for liberty, for justice, equality, am I also willing to die but also willing to live for those and also for mercy, compassion, empathy? Am I willing to put my life in front because somewhere deep inside my gut it's telling me it's the right thing to do? We had this we had these calls for duty. Every time there has been major conflict, not just in our country, but in other countries, when they actually had this going, we had the call of duty. Either we're going to be forced and conscripted into the military, into service for our country, or we're going to be doing it because we feel a loyalty, a deep-seated feeling that we want to be part of something greater than ourselves. Service is not just going into the military and picking up a weapon and say, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my dastardly things against people because that's what my king and country have said. There's the three things I was trying to remember on that one. What the hell was it? King, God, and country, or is it God, country, and king? Somewhere in those three things. You're doing it for your country, you're doing it for your king, you're doing it for your God, or some people say you're doing it for God, king, and country. They always kind of mix those things up, and sometimes. This is a back scratcher. Pretend. This is my weapon. I have a weapon in my hands. Well, technically speaking, this damn thing could be used as a weapon. I mean, it's pretty good. Good whacker. Pretty good on scratching the back, too. But using this thing, okay, I got a back scratcher that uses it as a gun here. Oh, God, here goes the sensors right now. I'm going to do dastardies with this person here. I'm doing it for king and country. They're coming into my soil. I must protect it with everything I've got because. There's always that because right there. Everybody has something in them, a reason, a definition, probably something logical, but it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper, deeper, deeper than that. The reasons why your relatives went into the military. You mentioned someone served in the silent service. You mentioned someone mentioning going into Korea and Vietnam. When we had Korea, we did have volunteer, but we also had. I'm not sure if I'm not quite sure if we actually did have the draft during that time, but we were trying to get the troops as much as possible over to Korea at that point. There was politics at work during that time. There was the Red Scare we were trying to fight off. The Red Scare being the communist idea and ideology that's coming out to destroy your Americanism, your liberty, your freedom, everything else. It's socialism. It's communism. It's against us. Regarding the works of Karl Marx, if I could just simplify the damn thing, it takes out the classes. You just get a worker class, but you also get a small ruling class. It's supposed to be ruling class coming out of the worker class to guide, suggest, maybe do something. But in the Marx model, everybody earns what they work for and towards, and everybody gets rewarded for that. And we're working towards the reward at this point. But for the common good, working for the common good with everybody. Meaning there are no ruling classes, just the workers. But we're doing it for the community. We're not doing it for the individual. We're not doing it for a laissez-faire. We're not doing it for individual enriching ourselves left and right, or maybe for others, but mostly for ourselves. Freedom's important, but everything has to be for the common good. I think that's what scares us the most because to us, communism is seeing what Russia became and some of the other authoritative regimes. We didn't want to be like that. We were taught that England was like that, an authoritative regime. Well, you had a parliament system in England that really didn't look after the commoners. They looked after the people and the landholders, mostly. But you also had a king who was little. Do I say eccentric for this schmuck in the first place? King George III? He had his own ideas of what things should be, and if they weren't his, well, he was going to say, off with your head. There goes your property. But if you're not a property holder, you're just a lowly peasant, well, off with you anyway. You go to prison, rot there, or just get conscripted into the army if I need you. And they had their own rebellions on England. There was a constant political strife on England on that one throughout their centuries. Ever since, what was it, William the Conqueror came over about 193 or something like that. Oh, 1033, I think. Normans and the Saxons and this and that. Oh my God, when I was like reading history a few decades back about English history, I wish I could have kept those damn books. I mean, they were giving me a background of where the hell I came from. Part of my ancestry was England, Scotland, Ireland, and Germany. Just by the last names or by the surnames that my family's inherited or married into. So it tell me what kind of lineage I have, but mostly for England, bit of Scotland, and somewhere in there it had to be iron. But I didn't have the fiery Irish temper, so a little bit of that. Scotland, well, you still had the Scottish brogue and you still had the Scottish attitudes, but mostly it was jolly old England. And there was oppression in England. They wanted a new place to go to. When the colonies, actually, when the New World was discovered, it was a shot heard around Europe at this point over here saying new land to conquer, resources to exploit. But mostly, we need a place to declare our own country or our own colony because our own host was kicking our ass and putting us down. We need to breathe, damn it. What happens? We have the people in the New World. Some of them want to say hi to the newcomers. And the problem is the newcomers had something that they didn't like. Besides European attitude of European manifest destiny going on, we had something of a biological nature. So a lot of people had died. But when they started getting the immune system going, to get the immunity to our smallpox and stuff, they started to tolerate us. But the thing is, our own damn attitude of trying to conquer people left and right. I mean, Spain was notorious for that damn crap. Central and South America, and trying to push into the north, all for exploitation, greed. Others just wanted a place to live. To say this is what we need. I mean, yeah, we're loyal to our home country, but we need our own place. They say, come on, we got to breathe here. We got to do whatever we need to or want to. Freedom, liberty, justice. Did we have that in England? We didn't have that in England. Did we have that in France? Not really. Sure as hell didn't have that in Spain, that's for damn sure. Did we have that in Germany? Not quite sure. Italy? Well, you had the papacy there. Are you converted into Christianity? Are you a Christian? Are you a Catholic? You're not a Catholic? You will be converted. You will. Because we say so. Underscore that. We say so. This manifest destiny runs in our blood. We want to conquer all. We want. I've been learning history and just never did the applications of it in my head or see how it was being applied. I had to learn many examples even when I wasn't in college. Screwing up 2.5 years. I didn't have my head in the game on this one. But I'm seeing things to play out in front of me on this. Does it make me more knowledgeable and make me the wisest guy in the world? No, it just makes me observant and seeing how things are changing, and sometimes I didn't quite catch it. I'd seen the political strife of our country. I still didn't understand the Tea Party when it came up. What was it, back in the late 90s to the 2000 era? They didn't like things happening in the country, and it mutated into what we got right now, the Trumplicans. It's a lot of crap to go through, I'll tell you that much. You were asking about what drives you crazy and what makes you sick and ticked. There's too much context to put things in perspective. We always keep saying in the program we need to keep things simple. Well, some things, yeah, and other things aren't so simple. You want to know what stirs you in your look at your paintings. I kid you not. Look at your paintings. Look at the creativity. Look what inspires you. Something inside of you is looking for inspiration of sorts. It's trying to find something to connect with, to have the audience connect with. You're trying to see that. You're trying to feel that connection. That's one of the things about us. Not between you and me, but particularly here, but we're getting there. But the connection with each other as countrymen. These things can be book talk to people. And I know when we keep on a topic left and right, we can keep talking about it. And maybe the others are like, okay, I'm trying to understand. I need to understand more. Well, there's a lot of things. I mean, it took me a hell of a long while trying to be cynical for my country here. I mean, I thought I was ultra patriotic myself. Being a Democrat, being a libturd slash libtard. That's what they call me out here in Kern County. Because I don't share Republican. I don't share Trumplicant. I don't do that thing. I've lost friends and family over that one. But I am what I am inside. I try not to push or shove my patriotism down people's throat, waving the flag all the time and say, look at me, look at me, look at me. Yeah, I see you. What? You don't get it. What am I waving here? You're waving a piece of cloth with colored strings in it, with colored dyes in it. You don't get it. Actually, I do get it. I understand fanaticism. I understand where you're willing to die for your country left and right, but you're willing to kill everybody because some guy's telling you to do so? Or are you actually doing it because you honest to God, believe in what you're doing is so damn righteous, you're willing to throw the world into chaos because of it? You want the world in your own damn viewpoint? And the reason why we keep telling people left and right our country is great because we valued pluralism. We valued diversity. I'll throw culinary at you. Beef stew. Tell me the ingredients, Daryl. What are the ingredients for a beef stew? I didn't say good. I said a beef stew or a stew. You got your starches. You got your veggies. You got your meat. You got your flavorings in the broth. We have our differences that makes a stew edible, enjoyable. Sometimes you have to add salt and pepper to it if you needed to, or maybe something else. But it's differences. Sorry, I'm shaking my table. That's not you. It's differences. The story of stone soup. This one hungry guy comes into a village hoping to get a bite to eat. Everyone turns his shuts the door on this guy. He knows that the villagers don't talk to each other. They're into their own little thing. How do you make a community? You draw them into one particular topic, into one particular thing here, one particular common factor. For this story, the guy wanted food. In order for him to get food, he needs to get the food out of the people. If you want to look at it this way. So, take a stone, take a pot of water, get the water to boil, put the stone in the water, take a stick or a spoon and just stir it around. Someone's curiosity is coming through. Start a conversation with the person. Yeah, it might taste good with that one. It might taste good. We'll see what happens. A piece here, a piece here. Here comes another person, another piece here, another piece here, a piece here. Right into the pot. Until finally you get this stew that everybody can share the bowl with. We're all appreciating diversity because we all brought something into the mix. This is the stuff I learned. This is stuff I heard growing up. This was coming out of church school. This was coming out of shows. These examples coming from different places. You want to try a cartoon, or actually a kids show that made that point clear. Land of the Lost. Sid Marty and Croft show. You can Google this one here. Three people are stuck in this timeless, dinosaur-filled environment. And the father is trying to get his siblings to get this meal going. He throws this analogy at them. He shows it in demonstration form to where they actually are sharing a meal. They actually understand a lesson here. Everybody shares into the pot. Everybody puts their share in the pot, but everybody else can get a better share from the pot. Pluralism. You kept asking yourself, well, how come you haven't felt this way? How come you haven't felt part? It's being part of a community. Now, it doesn't have to be military, but it is something considered of service. The other examples I said in my other logs. My mother worked for as an accountant controller at a senior center, nonprofit senior center. It's called the Organization for the Needs of the Elderly. It was back in the 90s. A little after 94, thank God. Yeah, 94 earthquake. Ugh. Oh, long stories on those damn things. Other videos. They needed help. They needed help putting things up, taking things down. They depended upon the community of the. They depended upon the community to help them out. Those who are willing to do service for legal reasons or for not legal reasons. My brother and I, we just did it because they needed help. So we were conscripted, drafted, volunteered, however you want to look at it. We went in. Helped set up, helped tear down, helped run a tent or two. On a Sunday, where my mother would be doing busy work inside, my brother and I doing busy work outside. We weren't getting paid for the damn thing. We weren't. Otherwise, we'd be paid workers. We did it, not just because we're mom's transportation, but it was something to give to a community. We decided a long time ago that we would do. I learned community service when I was going through high school and going through a program that dealt with the veterans at the VA center when I was a teenager. Prior to that, prior to that, I was a Cub Scout, and they taught service. So we would do a few things. I don't remember what the few things were. All I remember is they taught us this: how to be of good stewardships, to be of people of good character. Back then, it was supposed to be character. These days, I don't know what the hell they call it anymore. Maybe they do. It's been a while. I got a guy on Facebook who's been in the Scouts for a long time. He's a lifer. He's a super lifer. He understands about duty, honor, and commitment. He understands about patriotism, too. His name is Jimmy Ho. You might want to do a search on Facebook for this guy. I'm friends with this guy. He's a good man. Anyway, I'll do a second.